Let me tell you the real story of San Diego. Not the tourist version, not the beaches and the weather and the perfect 72 degrees. The real story. The one that explains why this city exists the way it does, why these neighborhoods are here, why this community has the character and the identity and the pride that it has. Because if you understand where San Diego actually came from, you will understand exactly why what I'm about to tell you matters so much, and why it matters specifically to you. San Diego was not built by developers. It was not built by tech companies or tourism boards or real estate investors. San Diego was built by the men and women who put on a uniform, showed up, and decided to stay. The military did not come to San Diego because the city was already great. San Diego became great because the military came. This goes back over a century. In the early 1900s, the United States military looked at the geography of Southern California and recognized something that the Spanish had known since the 1500s. That this coastline, this bay, this position on the Pacific Ocean was strategically unlike anything else on the West Coast. The San Diego Bay is one of the finest natural deepwater harbors in the entire country. Wide enough, deep enough, protected enough to harbor a fleet. Close enough to the Pacific to project power across an entire ocean. And the climate, mild, dry, clear skies nearly year-round, was perfect for training, for aviation, for operations that required visibility and consistency. The Navy made its decision, and San Diego was never the same. Naval Air Station North Island opened in 1917 on the northern tip of Coronado Island, and what happened there over the following decades was nothing short of extraordinary. North Island became the birthplace of naval aviation. This is not a marketing slogan, it is a historical fact. The earliest Navy pilots trained there. The aircraft carriers that would define American sea power were home-ported there. Charles Lindbergh prepared for his transatlantic flight from San Diego. The planes that fought and won the air war in the Pacific during World War II were launched from carriers that called North Island home. Today, Naval Air Station North Island remains one of the most strategically important military installations in the United States. Home port to multiple carrier strike groups, home to thousands of sailors and aviators and their families, an anchor of the entire South Bay economy and community. Then there is Naval Base San Diego, known to generations of sailors and San Diegans simply as 32nd Street. Formally established in 1922 on the southern end of San Diego Bay, 32nd Naval Station became the largest surface ship station on the entire West Coast. At its peak during World War II, it was one of the busiest military ports on the planet. Ships were built here, repaired here, deployed from here. Destroyers and cruisers and battleships and the supply vessels that kept an entire war effort alive. The piers at 32nd Street have seen history that most Americans have never been taught. And today, Naval Base San Diego continues as the home port for nearly 60 ships and the workplace for tens of thousands of active duty personnel, civilians, and contractors. It is not just a military installation, it is an economic engine that touches every community in South San Diego County. Both of those bases, Naval Air Station North Island and Naval Base San Diego, are in South County, right here. Coronado and the 32nd Street waterfront are within a few miles of Chula Vista, of National City, of the neighborhoods where our families live and work and go to school. The military presence that shaped this entire region is concentrated right here in the south end of the county. And that is not an accident. That is geography. That is history. And that history has shaped everything about who we are down here. Now let's talk about what World War II did to this city, because this is where the story really accelerates. When the United States entered the war in December of 1941, San Diego transformed almost overnight into one of the most critical military hubs in the entire country. The population of the city went from around 200,000 people to nearly 400,000 in less than a decade. Think about what that means. The city essentially doubled in size during a war. Workers flooded in from across the country to build ships at the yards along the bay, to manufacture aircraft at the Consolidated Volte plant that became one of the largest aircraft factories in the world, to support the logistics of a war being fought across the Pacific Ocean. Naval Amphibious Base Coronado, NAB Coronado, was established during the war as a training ground for the amphibious forces that would execute some of the most complex and dangerous military operations in history. The Navy SEALs trace their lineage directly to the combat swimmers who trained on those Coronado beaches. Camp Pendleton to the north became one of the largest Marine Corps bases in the country. Miramar became a major air station. The military did not just have a presence in San Diego during World War II, the military was San Diego. And then the war ended, and hundreds of thousands of service members began coming home. And a significant number of them, a number large enough to change the demographic and cultural character of this region permanently, made a decision. They stayed. They had seen San Diego, they had trained here or shipped out from here, or come back through here. They had seen the bay and the weather and the communities and the neighborhoods. They had met people here. Some of them had met the people they would marry here, and when the war was over and it was time to decide where to build a life, they looked at their options and they looked at San Diego, and the decision was not complicated. This is home. And they used the GI Bill, the Servicemen's Readjustment Act of 1944, the original version of what would eventually become the VA loan benefit, to buy homes. Modest homes, starter homes, 3-bedroom houses in Chula Vista and National City and Southeast San Diego and Coronado that were affordable on a veteran's budget in the late 1940s and early 1950s. They moved their families in. They planted gardens. They enrolled their kids in the local schools. They started businesses on the commercial strips near the bases. They built the neighborhoods that define South San Diego County today. Those homes that those veterans bought for $15,000 and $20,000 and $25,000 are worth $500,000, $600,000, $700,000 today. Some of them more. The equity that those families built, not through luck, not through financial sophistication, but through the simple act of using a benefit they had earned to buy a home in a city they believed in, has compounded over generations into wealth that has funded retirements, paid for college educations, been passed down to children and grandchildren as a financial foundation that changed the trajectory of entire family lines. That is what the VA benefit did for the veterans of that generation, and it has done the same thing for every generation of veterans since. After Korea, after Vietnam, after the Gulf War, after Iraq and Afghanistan. Every conflict, every deployment cycle, every generation of service has brought new families through San Diego, and the ones who understood what they had access to, who used their benefit to buy into this market when they had the chance, built something real. Now I need to speak directly to the Latino veterans and military families in this community, because this part of the story does not get told often enough, and it matters deeply to me personally. A significant portion of the men and women who have served in San Diego, who showed up at 32nd Street or North Island or NAB Coronado, who went through the gate every morning and did the work and took the risk and were willing to give everything, come from our community. Latino families, bilingual families, families with roots in Mexico, in Central America, in Puerto Rico, in the barrios of Los Angeles and San Antonio and Chicago, and right here in Chula Vista. Families where someone made the decision to serve because they believed in something, because they wanted to provide for their family, because the uniform represented an opportunity and an obligation that they took seriously. Those families built this city alongside everyone else. They served on those ships at 32nd Street. They flew those aircraft from North Island. They trained on those beaches at Coronado. They gave the same years, the same sacrifice, the same risk, and they earned the same benefit. But here is what I see too often. I see Latino veterans who have not used their VA loan benefit, who were told it was complicated, who were told it would not work in this market, who did not have someone in their corner who spoke their language, literally and culturally, and could walk them through the process the way their family deserves to have it explained. Angela and I built this practice specifically because that gap exists, and it should not. If your family served this country, your family earned this benefit, and we are here to make sure you know exactly how to use it. So let me break down what the VA loan actually is and why it is the most powerful home buying tool available in the San Diego market today. The VA Home Loan Benefit is a program that was created after World War II for one specific purpose: to make sure that the men and women who served this country could come home and build the kind of stable, rooted, wealth-building life that home ownership provides. It is a loan guarantee provided by the Department of Veterans Affairs that allows qualified veterans, active duty service members, National Guard and Reserve members with sufficient service, and surviving spouses to purchase a home with zero down payment. Zero, no down payment at all. In a market where the median home price in San Diego County is over $800,000, where a 5% down payment is $40,000 that most people spend years trying to save while the market keeps moving further away from them. Zero down is not a small thing. It is a transformational advantage. It is the difference between buying now and building equity now versus watching from the sideline while the window closes. There is no private mortgage insurance on a VA loan. On a conventional loan, if you put less than 20% down, you pay PMI every single month until you reach that equity threshold. For a home in this price range that is $200, $300, sometimes $400 per month that goes to a mortgage insurance company instead of into your equity and your family's future. On a VA loan, that charge does not exist. The interest rates available on VA loans are consistently among the lowest in the market. Because the government is guaranteeing a portion of the loan, lenders take on less risk and they pass that savings on to the borrower. Over the life of a 30-year mortgage, even a small rate difference compounds into tens of thousands of dollars. When you run the actual math, the VA loan wins against conventional financing in almost every scenario for the families who qualify for it. And I want to address the myth I hear most often in this community, the myth that VA loans do not compete in the San Diego market, that sellers won't accept them, that the process is too slow or too complicated. I want to be direct with you. That belief has cost San Diego veterans real money. It has kept families renting when they should have been building equity. It has caused people to walk away from a benefit they earned because someone, an agent, a lender, a well-meaning friend, told them something that was either outdated or simply wrong. Here's the truth. When a VA offer is structured correctly, when the agent knows what they're doing, when the lender is VA specialized and moves with efficiency and professionalism, when the offer is written to address the seller's concerns proactively, VA offers compete. We have closed VA transactions in competitive multiple offer situations in San Diego. It is not theory, it is what we do. The benefit works, the process works. You just need people in your corner who have actually done it. And that brings me to what I want to offer you right now. Every quarter, Angela and I host a free VA home buyers event right here at our office in Chula Vista. We bring in a lender who specializes specifically in VA financing. Someone who does this every day, who understands the nuances, who can look at your specific situation and tell you exactly where you stand. We walk through eligibility and how to verify yours. We walk through entitlement and what it means for your real purchasing power in this market. We walk through the appraisal process and how we manage it so it does not create problems in your transaction. We walk through how to write a competitive offer using a VA loan in a multiple offer environment. We walk through what the process looks like from the day you get pre-approved to the day you get your keys. You leave that event with a real picture of your real situation, not a vague sense that maybe someday you could buy a house, an actual number, an actual plan, an actual next step, small group, real answers, no sales pitch, no pressure, no obligation, just the information that every veteran in San Diego deserves to have. Here's what I want you to understand before you go. The men and women who served at 32nd Street and North Island and NAB Coronado did not just defend a military installation, they defended this community. They defended the neighborhoods of Chula Vista and National City and Coronado and Southeast San Diego. They defended the families who live here, the businesses that operate here, the way of life that exists here. They went out on those ships and those aircraft and those beaches and they were willing to give everything. Not for an abstract idea, for this place, for these people. And the veterans who came before them, the ones who stayed after World War II and used their GI Bill to buy into this community, they understood something that I want every veteran watching this to hear. You defended this county. You have every right to own a piece of it. Not someday. Not when the market is different or your credit is better or you feel more ready. Now. With the benefit you earned in the community you helped protect. Send me a DM right now, just the word veteran, and I will personally send you everything you need for our next quarterly VA Homebuyers event. The date, the time, the location, and how to reserve your spot. If you know a veteran or an active duty service member who has been sitting on this benefit and not using it, share this video with them today. Send it to your unit group chat. Post it in your veterans Facebook group. Text it to someone you served with who is still renting when they should be buying. You serve this community. Let us serve you. I'm David Cardenas. This is Cardenas & Company Real Estate right here in Chula Vista. We will see you at the event.